Hi class, now we're going to set up a domain controller on ACE-IT. So I logged into ACE-IT, I've chosen my lab, and to save some time, I booted up our DC DNS server just by clicking the on button. Once it's fully up, you can click on the console button to connect to that machine. I press Control Delete to sign into the machine. Actually, I'm going to sign out to show you that. I'm going to click this just to loosen my firewall, allow me to discover other devices on the network. I'm going to sign out. So once the machine is booted, click Control Delete and sign into the machine with our standard password. I'm going to hide this because I don't need it. I'm going to go to local server. And the first thing we're going to do is set up our network card. Then we're going to rename our computer. So I'm going to click on the link for Ethernet. Double click the card, then click Properties. Then click on IPv4. We're using the 10 network address because that's the environment ACE is assigned to us. The default gateway is our router that ACE-IT provides us. And these two servers are the DNS servers for the school. We're going to pretend that these are our ISP DNS servers. They're responsible to resolving names to IPs and IPs to names. Sorry, that should be a 5. Then click on computer name, click on change, and rename the computer for this lab. This is what I have the computer name as for the lab, but in real life I would use an asset tag. I wouldn't name a production system based on the role that it serves. It gives a hacker too much information. And now I'm going to reboot the machine. I'm going to press Control Delete to sign in again. So now that I'm signed in, I'm going to wait for this bar to stop going across. That blue one right there. Then I'm going to go to Manage, Add Roles and Features. I'm going to click Next until I get to the Server Role menu. Right there. I'm going to choose Active Directory Domain Services. When I chose that, a little pop-up came up that asked me if I wanted to install features. That's for all the tools to manage this role. Since I'm going to manage the role locally, I've installed the tools. I'm just going to walk through the wizard until I get to the confirmation page. Click restart if necessary, then install. This is going to take a while, so I'm going to pause the video. Okay, it's done installing, so now I'm going to promote it to a domain controller. So I can click this link right here if I hadn't clicked close. If you did click close, you can get to that link from clicking on the notification flag. Because this is going to be our first domain for this forest, I'm going to click on add a new forest and type in contoso.com. That is a domain name that Microsoft uses in all the textbooks. I'm going to set up a recovery password. When I promote this to a domain controller, I won't have any local user accounts. So this will be one password I can use to get in to fix Active Directory should it crash. In the third Microsoft course, I'll go over how to do this in more detail. But for right now, I just need you to be able to set this up so you can do the rest of the labs for the class. Then click install. Again, this is going to take a while, so I'm going to pause while this is being promoted. Okay, it's done promoting. Now I'm going to sign back in. After it promotes, it does a reboot. The last thing we need to do is fix our DNS. I'm going to click on Tools, DNS. Once the DNS console opens up, I'm going to highlight my server, expand it, then highlight reverse lookup. Now when I promoted it, it created the forward lookup for me automatically, configured everything, so there's really nothing I need to do there. But for the reverse lookup, it doesn't create it because it doesn't know what network we're part of. So I'm going to highlight reverse lookup zone, right click and say new zone. It's going to be a primary zone, meaning it's read-write. By read-write, I mean that I can create records and I can also have it act like a server. Sometimes if you have a secondary zone, it can be read-only, meaning it'll act as a server, but I can't make changes on that server. I have to go to another server to make changes. Primary zone, it'll act like a server, plus I can make changes. It's going to get copied to all domain controllers in my domain, but I only have one in this network set up. It's going to be for an IPv4 network. And I'll explain why it's called a reverse zone in a moment. So I'm going to put in my network address, which is 10.0.0. You see how it's listed in reverse order? We'll go over DNS in the next class. And because we're part of an Active Directory domain, we're going to allow any machines that are part of our network to automatically contact this DNS server and add any records that it needs. Then click Finish. So when I booted this server up, this didn't exist. So it wasn't able to create the records that it needed. So I'm going to go to Start, Open up PowerShell. I'll change the resolution so you can see it on the video. I'm going to run register DNS client. Now contact the DNS server and create any missing records. I'll type exit to get out of this. So when I go back to DNS and hit refresh, there's the record it just created from that command. So now we have a fully functioning domain controller. This is where I would go to add users. Here's all my user accounts. And this is where I would create group policies that I can use to control all my clients and all my users. Here's the 2 policies that I currently have. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you.